Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
John McClane, the quintessential American action hero.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
To date, Bruce Willis has portrayed the iconic character in 5 films between 1988 and 2013, with rumours of a 6th, and perhaps final, film on the way. 3 of the 5 Die Hard films received cuts at some point in the UK, and in this special edition of Cutting Edge, we'll be looking at the changes made by the British censors to the Die Hard films, as well as taking a brief look at how the films fared in the United States with the MPAA. The original Die Hard has always been uncut in the UK. Since its theatrical classification in August of 1988, and right through its VHS, DVD and Blu-ray incarnations, the film has been an uncut 18 with no BBFC changes. A theatrical re-release in 2013 saw the same uncut version receive a 15 rating under contemporary BBFC guidelines for strong violence, language, nudity and hard drug use. In 1988, the BBFC were happy to pass it 18 uncut. Whilst the frequent and strong language was considered borderline 15-18, the main issue was the film's bloody violence, with one of the 2 examiners noting, "It is not that strong, but there are a few moments that are incontrovertibly 18. Impact shots, for example, are used sparingly, but there are some close-ups. I do not think we should be thinking of cuts in this kind of big movie, especially one that does not revel in sadism for the sake of it. It justified a medium strong 18. The second film examiner generally agreed, although they found the film a little stronger overall, commenting, "Designer muscles and weaponry directed by John McTiernan is not really a problem for the 18 category, since much is left to the imagination. And what isn't is either brutal but affected off-screen, or carefully choreographed. Hands squeeze faces and heads butt each other and hit walls, and sometimes repeatedly, but mostly deliberately and sparingly. The violence got us firmly into the top end of 18, but its discretion kept the scissors away." All theatrical, VHS, DVD and Blu-ray releases of Die Hard are fully uncut in the UK. Finnish director Renny Harlin took over the directing duties for the first sequel, bringing his visceral style into play during the film's many action scenes. In the United States, the film received some trims to violence in order to achieve an R rating for the MPAA, thus avoiding the commercially unviable X certificate. Harlin's original cut of the film is available as a full-screen bootleg amongst trading circles, but this version has never had an official release in any part of the world. The following visual comparisons contain clips from the unreleased X-rated version, and the quality reflects the age and condition of the source materials. The first scene reduced for the MPAA was the conveyor belt fight between McClane and Cochran. The original X-rated version draws out the death of Cochran through a selection of intercut shots. What follows is a comparison between the X-rated version and the R-rated version. The second cut for the R version occurs at the start of the shootout on the Annex Skywalk. When the SWAT team leader is shot in the head, the gory side-angle shot of blood erupting from the back of his head was removed.
Hey, asshole, what do I look like to you?
A sitting duck.
Hey, asshole, what do I look like to you?
A sitting duck.
O'Reilly's death was also trimmed for an R rating, as this comparison demonstrates. Later in the film, in the scene where McClane thrusts an icicle into an enemy's eye during the fight outside the church, the side-angle shot of the icicle embedded in the eye was trimmed in length by around half for the R-rated version. Another change made for the R-rated version occurs when Major Grant is sucked into the airplane's engine during the finale. The original X-rated version has a rather gory sound effect as Grant is pulled into the machinery, along with the sound of McClane exclaiming in horror. The R version does not omit any footage, but removes the wetness of the sound effects, as well as McClane's exclamation. The R-rated version would become the standard version of Die Hard 2 released to territories throughout the world, so the R version is generally referred to as the uncut version. In the following comparisons, we'll therefore be referring to the R-rated version as the uncut version. When Die Hard 2 was submitted to the BBFC in its uncut form, the BBFC demanded cuts in order for the distributors to attain a 15 rating for the film's UK release. The first change requested by the board was a general change to the film's dialogue. Reduce sexual expletives throughout the film by at least half. Alternate dialogue recorded by the original cast for American television showings was utilised for most of the film.
I got a freaking reindeer flying in here from the freaking petting zoo, but John McClane, he's got a little problem. Hell, let's shut down the whole freaking airport.
However, almost all of Bruce Willis's offending lines were not re-recorded following completion of the film, and as a result, censored versions of McClane's dialogue were created by removing the offending words to mask the swearing. What follows are side-by-side comparisons of the original uncut dialogue with the tamer dialogue used for the cut UK version. Pay particular attention to how badly McClane's lines are affected due to the lack of alternative recorded dialogue.
Elvis Presley.
Fucking tourists.
Can I get
Ought
you
to be
something
a
else?
law.
Excuse me, sir. There's a large number of you from the Justice Department here this evening. Is there
Elvis Presley.
Excuse me, sir. There's a large number of you from the Justice Department here this
I got international diplomats. I got a fucking reindeer flying in here from the fucking petting zoo. But John McClane, he's got a little problem. Hell, let's shut down the whole fucking airport. Now, what do you think they're gonna say upstairs when I tell them that? I got international diplomats. I got a freaking reindeer flying in here from the freaking petting zoo. But John McClane, he's got a little problem. Hell, let's shut down the whole freaking airport. Now, what do you think they're gonna say upstairs when I tell them that? So you cap some lowlife. Fine. I'll send your fucking captain in L.A. a fucking commendation. So you cap some lowlife. Fine. I'll send your freaking captain in L.A. a freaking commendation.
Hold up, we gotta check something. What are you doing? Pretty gruesome fucking job. Hold up, we gotta check something. What are you doing? Pretty gruesome job.
Oh, they were here anyways, crawling all over the Esperanza story. So they got it right on the fucking news, you know, bloodstains and all. Oh, they were here anyways, crawling all over the Esperanza story. So they got it right on the news, you know, bloodstains and all.
The only people to go to this much trouble are professionals, not luggage thieves and not punks.
Professional at what?
What the fuck do you think this is, huh? The safety patrol here? This is the resume of a professional mercenary. You got the world's biggest drug dealer on his way here now. What do you need, a slide rule to figure this out? Or maybe another body in a zipper bag before you start asking questions?
Hey, pal, you're the one that gave us that fucking body. Remember that.
The only people to go to this much trouble are professionals, not luggage thieves and not punks.
Professional at what?
What do you think this is, huh? The safety patrol here? This is the resume of a professional mercenary. You got the world's biggest drug dealer on his way here now. What do you need, a slide rule to figure this out? Or maybe another body in a zipper bag before you start asking questions?
Hey, pal, you're the one that gave us that freaking body. Remember that. Hey, McLean, I got a first-class unit here, SWAT team and all. We don't need any Monday morning quarterbacks.
Hey, fuck Monday morning. My wife's on one of the goddamn planes these guys are fucking with.
Hey, McLean, I got a first-class unit here, SWAT team and all. We don't need any Monday morning quarterbacks.
Hey, Monday morning. My wife's on one of the goddamn planes these guys are fucking with.
Come on, man.
God damn it, Trudeau. You're dealing with pros here. You can't fuck with these people. Listen to me.
Come on, man.
God damn it, Trudeau. You're dealing with pros here. You can't fuck with these people. Listen to me.
What the hell is fucking hands off? I'm working here, for shit's sake. Just get them both out of here. What the hell is I'm the only one working here, for shit's sake. Just get them both out of here.
Tomlinson here.
This is Captain Lorenzo here with 2 unauthorized personnel in the fucking tower.
Tomlinson here.
This is Captain Lorenzo here with 2 unauthorized personnel in the front tower.
Anything who can think of. Can't fuck with what guy?
Shit.
Anything who can think of. Can't fool with what guy?
Shit.
But no, I gotta crawl around this motherfucking tin can. No, I gotta crawl around this goddamn tin can. Fuck!
I'm gonna kick your fucking ass. This is it? One fucking platoon? This is it? One platoon? Listen, you gotta get me up to the pilot's briefing room. They're having a little soiree up there, and I gotta hear what they're saying, even if I gotta put a fucking glass up to the door. Now, which one of these maps gets me up there?
Don't touch it!
Listen, you gotta get me up to the pilot's briefing room. They're having a little soiree up there, and I gotta hear what they're saying, even if I gotta put a glass up to the door. Now, which one of these maps gets me
Don't
up there?
touch it! Where's the fucking door? Where's the door?
Well, maybe they're just a little bit more creative than you think.
Well, at least I'm thinking, goddammit!
Listen, you wise ass.
We're here to jerk off that cocksucker until he tries to take off. Period. Well, maybe they're just a little bit more creative than you think.
Well, at least I'm thinking, goddammit!
Listen, you wise ass.
We're here to service that hijacker until he tries to take off. Period.
Barnes, we looked at 12 fucking houses and we're nowhere. Barnes, we looked at 12 houses and we're nowhere. All right. Just stay here and get ready to call the Marines.
I thought they were the Army.
Who gives a fuck? Just be ready.
I thought they were the Army.
Who gives a fuck? Just be ready.
This equipment, it could land our planes.
Don't touch anything. There were tripwires outside. They could have booby-trapped.
Got one here, too. Looks like C4 and the motherfucker is armed.
Clear the area. Everybody, now!
Got one here, too. Looks like C4 and the mother's armed.
Clear the area. Everybody, now!
Check out your own fucking plane.
You move out in 5 minutes. Flak jackets for everybody. Body armor for the assault team. Night scopes for the snipers. We will take them in the hangar, and I will pull that detonator out of Stewart's dead fucking hand myself. Check out your own freaking plane. You move out in 5 minutes. Flak jackets for everybody. Body armor for the assault team. Night scopes for the snipers. We will take them in the hangar, and I will pull that detonator out of Stewart's dead hand myself.
Piece of shit out here! Vito, get the fuck out of the car! Get your ass in here and help me for Christ's sake! Will you get shit? Oh man, back and front! Move that piece of shit! Fuck! Will you move that goddamn piece of shit out of here? Vito, get out of the car! Get your ass in here and help me for Christ's sake! Will you get?
I don't know about you guys, but I've seen enough fucking snow to last me a lifetime.
Don't get much of that in the tropics, Major.
Well, you gentlemen will import it.
I don't know about you guys, but I've seen enough freaking snow to last me a lifetime.
You don't get much of that in the tropics, Major.
For you gentlemen, we'll import it.
Like 114, motherfucker! Like 114,
They used to pharmacy! They used to fucking pharmacy!
They can all do that.
They used the pharmacy! They used the freaking pharmacy!
They can all do that. Let's tell them.
They already know.
With regards to the film's violence, the BBFC would be more specific on the changes needed for the 15 rating, beginning with a shot in reel 1 of the film when the janitor is killed in the church.
Yeah, I kind of feel like a piece of me is dying along with this church.
Oh, you're right about that.
For the UK version, the BBFC requested remove blood spurt when janitor is shot in empty church.
Yeah, I kind of feel like a piece of me is dying along with this church.
Oh, you're right about that.
The fight in the baggage handling area, already cut for an R, was cut further for the UK theatrical release. The uncut version contains the following material. For the UK version, the BBFC stated, when McClane fights 2 terrorists on baggage handling track, remove both his headbutts and close-up of terrified man about to have his head crushed by metal support. The heaviest cuts occurred during the Annex Skywalk sequence in Reel 3. The uncut version plays as follows, in Harlan's typical style.
Hey asshole, what do I look like to you? A sitting duck.
Damn it, I hate it, but I'm right.
With regards to this scene, the BBFC requested the following changes. Considerably reduce violence at the top of the escalator by removing the following. Bloody impact as man is shot in forehead. Close-up of engineer's bloody arm cut by broken glass. Heavy shooting of man on escalator, including blood spurt. Blood spurt as man is shot through window. Bloody impact as SWAT team member is repeatedly shot and staggers away in slow motion, resuming as he crashes through glass partition. Blood spurt from man's back. Close-up of man's fear as paint tower falls on him. Reduction in gunning down of advancing terrorist on escalator, including blood spurt. As a result of these changes, the cut version of the scene plays with more of a focus on excitement and action rather than on violence, as this clip illustrates.
Hey asshole, what do I look like to you? A sitting duck.
Damn it, I hit it, but I'm right.
Later in the film, when General Esperanza hijacks his transport plane, he shoots one of the pilots in the head at point blank range.
So who will fly the plane?
Don't worry about it. It's not your problem.
The BBFC objected, stating, "Remove close-up of gun firing against side of pilot's head in plane."
So who will fly the plane?
Don't worry about it. It's not your problem.
A short while afterwards in Reel 6, McClane fights with the terrorist outside the church. It plays as follows in the R-rated version. For this scene, the BBFC requested considerably reduce stabbing of terrorist's eye with icicle, removing sight of bloody socket. As a result of the cuts, McClane's audible reaction to the dead man goes out of sync with the visuals of McClane looking away in disgust. The naive Officer Telford meets a grisly end at the hands of Major Grant, when Grant slits his throat in an unexpected act of betrayal. The throat slicing, shot entirely with practical effects back in the glory days of adult action entertainment, is particularly bloody and realistic, with the uncut version playing thus.
We wouldn't have to do this.
Once again the BBFC objected, stating, "Reduced to the briefest establishing shot, sight of Grant's knife slitting throat of soldier in back of truck. Remove the blood gush which follows, and all clear sight of blood from throat in later shot of victim's head slumping forward." The implication of violence remains, but the intended shock effect of the scene is hugely diluted in the cut version.
We wouldn't have to do this.
Following dialogue cuts, substitutions and reductions to bloody violence, Die Hard 2 was passed with a 15 rating after 28 seconds of cuts on August 21st, 1990. This cut version was later released on VHS, although the uncut version was later passed with an 18 rating for a video re-release on August 11th, 1992. This version was released on VHS in a THX widescreen transfer. The uncut 18 version has since become the standard UK home video release, and is the version available on DVD and Blu-ray. Like its prequel, Die Hard 2 was also seen by the BBFC for a theatrical re-release in early 2013. This time around, all the previous film cuts were waived, and the film was passed with a downgrade to a 15 rating for strong language and bloody violence. At the time this episode was released, the first two Die Hard films have not been resubmitted for a home video rating under new BBFC guidelines, and they remain at 18 on DVD and Blu-ray. John McTiernan returned for the third Die Hard film, and the film appears to have received an R rating in the United States with ease, although unsubstantiated rumours persist to this day that a scene featuring McClane whipping a villain with a chain was cut for the R rating. This scene does appear a little choppy, but there is no available evidence that suggests that this is due to MPAA interference. When Die Hard with a Vengeance came before the BBFC in mid-1995 for a UK theatrical certificate, the BBFC requested cuts for a 15 rating. Their main issue was once again the frequency of strong language, although trims were also requested to 3 of the film's bloodier scenes of violence. The first cut the board demanded was, like Die Hard 2, a general one. Throughout the film, reduce the cumulative incidence of sexual swear words by half, retaining those justified by dramatic tension. Dialogue recorded for American TV was once again used, although thankfully Bruce Willis had this time redubbed his own lines. The filmmakers went a little overboard though, and removed not only a large amount of F words, but also uses of much milder words including goddamn and shit, language that is regularly heard in PG rated films.
We're gonna drop back to 128th Street.
What? 10 blocks? Are you fucking kidding me?
10 blocks? Are you really kidding me?
Your own safety.
You're damn right it's a police matter. For your own safety, I suggest you hide your butt in my shop till the police get here.
What the fuck?
Let's get here.
What the hell is that?
That cut deep? How the hell would I know?
Just keep pressure on it.
Oh, fuck. I know.
Just keep pressure on it.
He's sitting on an awful lot of rage, and it could be manifested physically if he's stressed.
Somebody arrested, somebody pissed off.
Well, that could be one hell of a long list.
Fuck you, Joe.
Well, that could be one hell of a long list.
Go away, Joe. Thanks, Rick. Bob Simons was a bankrupt businessman and kidnapped his partner's daughter. He's a fuck-up, not a psycho. The guy we're looking for is nuts.
He's a flunky, not a psycho. The guy we're looking for is nuts.
Oh, yes, I understand. I understand that you're a fucking wacko that likes to play kids' games. That's what I understand.
Hardly.
I understand you're a freaky wacko that likes to play kids' games. That's what I understand.
Oh, you're sacked with 7
Weren't you listening?
7. Yeah, I was listening to hear every
fuck is
fucking
wrong
thing.
with you?
Well, besides having a bad fucking hangover for one thing.
All right.
Oh, you're sacked with 7
Weren't you listening?
7. Yeah, I was listening to hear every
What the heck
single.
is wrong with you?
Well, besides having a bad fucking hangover for one thing.
All right. No, wait. It's a trick. It's a trick.
What do you mean?
I forgot about the man.
What, man? Fuck the man. We got 10 seconds.
He said how many were going to St. Ives, right? I forgot about the man.
What, man? Forget the man. We got 10 seconds left.
How many were going to St. Ives, right?
2nd to Broadway to Central Park South in 3 minutes.
It's gotta be a fucking record.
2nd to Broadway to Central Park South in 3 minutes.
It's gotta be a record.
Get away from the goddamn ball!
Get your hands up!
Get away from the damn ball!
Get your hands up!
So what's up with this LA thing? You famous or something?
Yeah, for about 5 minutes.
Don't tell me Rodney King, right?
Fuck you.
Don't tell me Rodney King, right?
Very funny.
Put your hands up! Put your fucking hands up now!
Put your hands up! Put your hands up now!
No, John, no, God, it's me! Where the hell is everybody?
Simon fucking says.
Where the hell is everybody?
Simon says.
Damn, slow down. Shit.
Put that shit down.
No fucking way.
They ain't gonna let you keep it.
Yeah, we'll see.
We're gonna need a car.
Damn, slow down. Shoot.
Put that gold down.
Ain't no way.
They ain't gonna let you keep it.
Yeah, we'll see.
You gotta hot wire this thing? Of course I can. I'm an electrician. Only problem is... takes too fucking long. Takes too friggin' long.
Wait. Hey, who was the 21st president?
Go fuck yourself!
Hey, who was the 21st president?
Go take a hike!
NYPD! You got any, extra dump trucks come through here in the last couple minutes?
I'm gonna write those fucking clowns up. They better start paying attention to work.
You got any, extra dump trucks come through here in the last couple minutes?
I'm gonna write those clowns up. They better start paying attention to work, or we're gonna kick some butt.
Attention! Attention! Nils is dead. I repeat, Nils is dead, fuckhead. So's his pal. Attention! Attention! Nils is dead. I repeat, Nils is dead, bonehead. So's his pal.
Oh, what the fuck happened? Oh, what the hell happened?
You ever see that show called The Addams Family? They got a motherfucker on there called...
You don't think I'm gonna let you get to that gun, do you?
Fuck. You ever see that show called The Addams Family? They got a motherfucker on there called...
You don't think I'm gonna let you get to that gun, do you? It's a big black and white fucking boat in the middle of the harbor. It's a big black and white boat in the middle of the harbor.
Yes, I never invited you aboard this ship.
No riddle's gonna stop this motherfucker?
No code, no riddle, no fancy little countdown.
No riddle's gonna defuse this thing?
No code, no riddle, no fancy little countdown.
Hold on. What the fuck are you doing? Hold on. What are you doing?
Don't drop this motherfucker, all right?
Getting right. Come on. You ready?
Don't drop this motherfucker, all right?
Getting right. Come on. You ready?
Yeah, well, she didn't stick around too long. We're sort of separated.
What the fuck is sort of separated?
Yeah, well, she didn't stick around too long. We're sort of separated.
What the hell sort of separate?
Well,
You threw away your badge because you were too fucking stupid to pick up the phone.
what, you think that's funny, huh? You laugh at other people's
I
misfortunes?
bet you blame that shit on your wife, too, right?
Well, my wife is a very stubborn woman, yes.
You threw away your badge because you were too stupid to pick up the phone.
What, you think that's funny, huh? You laugh at other people's
I
misfortunes?
bet you blame that on your wife, too, right?
Well, my wife is a very stubborn woman, yes.
Oh, shit! What? Fuck, I dropped the thing!
Drop the fucking
God
thing!
damn it!
Shit, where is it? Where'd it go?
Find it, all right?
I don't fucking see it.
What the fuck is that?
I think I made it mad.
Go, McLean. Get the fuck out of here.
Fucking do something!
God damn it, McLean, listen to me.
Oh, shit! What? Fuck, I dropped the thing!
Drop the fucking thing!
Damn it!
Damn! Where is it? Where'd it go?
Find it, all right?
I don't see it.
Why is he doing that?
I think I made it mad.
Go, McLean. Get out of here.
Gotta do something!
God, McLean, listen to me.
He beat me.
Johnny beat all of us.
I wasn't playing against you.
Fuck that, McLean.
I wasn't playing against you.
Forget that, McLean. You're still alive, aren't you? That's right. Run, motherfuckers. The exterminators are here.
Woo! That's right. Run, suckers. The exterminators are here.
Woo!
The first cut for violence was made in reel 4, with the BBFC requesting reduce slashing of security guard by woman assassin. This cut refers to the bank heist scene. The uncut version plays as follows, with the cut UK version playing directly afterwards.
I think he's dead, my dear. I think he's dead, my dear.
The next change for the cut UK version occurs about 10 minutes later, when McClane realises the men he is riding in the elevator with are German terrorists posing as bank employees. In a particularly awesome sequence, a shootout occurs in the elevator which climaxes with McClane shooting German bad guy Otto in the face at point blank range.
I got the tickets right here.
Put that fucking gun down! Put the fucking gun down now! Put it down!
This sequence was a little too strong for the BBFC, however, with the board demanding reduce violence of shootout in lift, removing close-up of blood spurt onto Willis's face. The distributors took the request of reduction a little too far, removing not only the sight of Otto's blood and brains exploding onto McClane's face, but also 2 close-ups of McClane's gun firing, as well as a shot of the terrorists buckling over in the cab when they are fired upon. The film's sound has also been hastily looped and chopped up here. After McClane has headbutted the terrorist standing behind him, he shouts, "Put it down," in the uncut version. In the cut version, the sounds of gunshots from elsewhere in the fight have been shifted to play over this footage, so McClane's mouth is seen to move but no dialogue is heard. Why the audio was messed around with in such a sloppy manner remains a mystery, but the cut UK version ended up playing something like this.
Those are my lucky numbers. I got the tickets right here.
Put that gun down! Put that gun down!
The next cut occurred in reel 5, when McClane kills 2 bad guys by shooting them through the door of the truck they are sitting in. For this scene, the BBFC requested when Willis kills 2 men in cab of truck, minimise sight of them juddering under impacts of repeated shootings through door, resuming to see them slump dead before door opens.
Mickey O'Brien, Aqueduct Security. Hey, listen, we had a report of a guy coming through here with 8 reindeer.
With the requested cuts having been made by the distributors, the film was seen by the BBFC again and passed with a 15 rating on August 10th, 1995, with the board recording that 12 seconds of cuts had been made. This cut version was later released on VHS in 1996, again with a 15 rating. The initial DVD release of Die Hard with a Vengeance in the UK was also a cut version, but eagle-eyed fans may have noticed that it ran almost 3 minutes less than the officially rated BBFC version passed in 1996. This is because the print used was even more heavily censored than the cinema and VHS versions. Instead of using the censored UK print as is, the distributors simply deleted the entire scenes that contained any offending footage, leaving UK buyers with an appalling mess of jump cuts that rendered entire sequences in the film completely nonsensical, as the following clips demonstrate.
Stay back! Stay back!
to the office working.
Being die hell with.
Hello? Anybody down here? Put your hands up! Put your hands up now! No, John, no, God, it's me!
Come on! What a hell of a place to break down.
Hold it a minute, Jerry. Let me have your hard hat. You got a jacket?
Yeah, sure.
Wait here a minute.
So you guys in these phones.
Since this print of the film had not been formally classified by the BBFC, even though it sported a 15 rating, it was technically illegal to be on sale, so it was eventually withdrawn from the market. A 2-disc special edition was released in March 2002, which again had cuts to strong language and violence made. Die Hard with a Vengeance was seen by the BBFC again in 2008 for another DVD release, and it was passed uncut with a 15 rating on August 1st, 2008 for strong language and violence. The UK Blu-ray released in 2012 also featured the uncut version. It took 13 years, but UK audiences now had a fully uncut version of the film for the very first time. Originally titled Die Hard 4, the third sequel in the franchise underwent a name change in the United States, taking inspiration from New Hampshire's state motto, Live Free or Die, with the film being released as Live Free or Die Hard. The rest of the world released the film under its original, and arguably more fitting, title. Director Len Wiseman was a huge Die Hard fan, and wanted to stay as true to the series' origins as possible, as much as he could within the confines of the Hollywood studio system, that is. Not long before the film went into production, however, someone somewhere decreed that the film had to be a PG-13 for its theatrical release. Fans were in uproar after the news, but Bruce Willis himself assured them that the film would not disappoint. The balls of the movie remain intact. I cannot speak for Fox. They wanted a hardcore Die Hard 4 too, but we shot it as if we were making an R-rated movie, and except for the fuck limitations, it looks and feels very hard R. Knowing the film would have to meet the MPAA's approval for a PG-13 rating, Wiseman shot most of the violence with no blood, opting instead to insert blood spurts digitally for the subsequent unrated DVD version. Wiseman also shot different takes of various lines. A few humorous one-liners were used for the PG-13 version, whilst the unrated DVD either removed them outright or replaced them with more darkly humorous variations that were closer to McClane's character.
She just killed a helicopter with a car.
I was out of bullets.
She just killed a helicopter with a car.
Hundreds of thousands of people get killed by cars every year. It's just like 4 more.
In addition, after McClane throws an enemy down a staircase and severely injures him, McClane remarks in the PG-13 version that he'll get medical help for the man.
Don't move now. I'll send a doctor.
In the unrated version, McClane coldly leaves the man lying on the floor, telling him,
"Time to take a nap, pal."
While some scenes were shot with strong language recorded on the set, and were thus unsuitable for inclusion in the PG-13 version,
Shut up. Shut the fuck up.
they were later reinstated into the unrated DVD.
I'm gonna go kill this motherfucker and get my daughter back. Or go get my daughter and kill this motherfucker.
However, Wiseman also added in a lot of dubbed swearing to make the unrated version seem tougher. In the end, he would oversell it. For instance, some of these dubs are inserted over shots where McClane's face isn't on screen, so lines could easily be added in.
Fuck you, bitch!
On the other hand, when McClane is seen on screen, his lips are sometimes not moving at all. McClane's most famous line in the Die Hard series,
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker,
is expected in every Die Hard installment. When news of the PG-13 rating for Live Free or Die Hard broke, the chances of this line being present in the film was surely the first thing on a lot of fans' minds. Bruce Willis again jumped to the film's defense, remarking, There is an interesting flip on the yippee-ki-yay motherfucker part that I think will be surprising, but it is more than satisfying to me, and hopefully to the people who are fans of the mythology of Die Hard. The famous catchphrase will most definitely be in Die Hard 4. The line was indeed in the film, but only partially. A well-timed gunshot masks the very end of the line, although it was reinstated in full for the unrated DVD version.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker!
Die Hard 4 had no censorship problems in the UK, although it did receive a 15 rating. The BBFC said that one of the reasons for this was the fact that motherfucker was still audible, despite the presence of the gunshot masking the tail end of the word.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker!
However, the main issue was the violence, with the board stating, although there was arguably no single moment that was unprecedented at 12A, the sheer frequency and intensity of the violence, which occasionally displayed a certain degree of relish, had a determining effect on the film's classification. The accumulation of various moments of intense and occasionally brutal violence gave the film an overall feeling of dwelling on violence that sat uneasily below 15. The unrated version was later classified for a home video rating in the UK, and it too was passed uncut and awarded a 15 rating on September the 25th, 2007 for strong language and violence. It was released on DVD in the UK as the Ultimate Action Edition. The unrated US DVD features a small branching error in one scene of the unrated cut, where the film mistakenly switches back to the PG-13 version for a few seconds. The UK disc, however, does not feature this error. So far, no Blu-ray version exists of the unrated cut, so non-US DVD releases of the unrated version are the only way to get that version fully intact. The fifth film in the franchise saw McClane heading outside of the United States for the first time, teaming up with his son Jack to take down Russian bad guys. Irish director John Moore took over for this installment, with the film returning the series to its roots when it received an R rating for the MPAA. In the UK, Fox submitted an unfinished cut of the film to the BBFC for advice on its classification. Bizarrely, the filmmakers wanted to get a 12A rating for the film. As the BBFC note in their records, A Good Day to Die Hard was originally seen for advice in an unfinished form. The company was advised that the film was likely to receive a 15 certificate, but that their preferred 12A classification could be achieved by making a number of cuts to both language and visuals. When the finished version of the film was submitted for formal classification, edits had been made to reduce the number of uses of strong language and to reduce sequences of bloody violence, including blood sprays when characters are shot in the head and punches to restrained individuals. The formal submission was consequently rated 12A. The BBFC records note that 4 uses of strong language made it into this edited 12A version. The 4 uses were as follows.
Jack, what the fuck was that, huh?
Shut up.
All right, let's move, John!
On fucking vacation!
Come on, time to hustle.
It's a huge diplomatic mess, and I'm a burnable asset. So, I now need that file to unfuck this mission. Any more questions?
Sorry I fucked up your day.
The BBFC considered these 4 uses to be sufficiently infrequent enough to be allowed at 12A, and thus all of the lines that featured the words fuck or motherfucker were edited for the 12A version. As for McClane's yippee-ki-yay line, it was simply cut short.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Despite the lack of a formal cuts list, the BBFC notes about the advice screening process do give us some insight into what scenes were affected. Cutting Edge has created some reconstructions of what the 12A version might have looked like for UK cinema audiences, although these comparisons are examples only and are in no way definitive of the changes made by the filmmakers in 2013. The first visual change occurs about 34 minutes into the film, when Mike is shot in the head with a large blood spurt. This occurrence was reduced for the 12A version.
Let's go.
At around 48 minutes into the film, The Russian villain Alec beats and kicks both McClane and Jack as they kneel on the floor before him, with their hands tied behind their backs.
Killing is much, much better than working in a grocery shop! Jesus Christ!
Nice one.
This scene, which featured what the BBFC referred to as punches to restrained individuals, was also reduced for the 12A version.
Killing is much, much better than working in a shop!
Nice one.
Alec is later betrayed by Yuri, with the latter shooting Alec in the head at point-blank range. This too was cut for the 12A version.
No more games. Where's the file?
That's no longer your concern.
No more games. Where's the file?
That's no longer your concern.
Yuri later falls into the tail blades of a helicopter at the end of the film. Again, this instance of bloody violence was removed for the 12A UK version. Following the filmmaker's changes, A Good Day to Die Hard was formally passed 12A without any formal BBFC cuts on February the 8th, 2013. The uncut R-rated version was submitted for a UK home video rating and passed 15 without cuts by the BBFC on April the 26th, 2013. However, the BBFC state that this version reinstates only some of the material removed at the advice stage. One of the versions we saw for advice had additional uses of strong language that have never subsequently been reinstated. Changes made during the advice screening were incorporated into the final R-rated version of the film, as well as the cut 12A version. At least 2 instances of strong language appear to have been cut at the last minute, including a line following a shootout in the safe house, where McClane originally was heard to quip that he flew 8,000 fucking miles for this. The Blu-ray subtitles contain the strong language, but the actual soundtrack loses the use of the F word.
McClane, move it!
Furthermore, in a later scene, McClane is heard to say, "Let's get out of this, mother," with the tail end of the line being cut off, but the subtitles read, "Let's get out of this building."
Get out of this mother!
Clearly, these 2 lines at least were different when the film was originally seen in an incomplete form by the BBFC. The unrated extended version of A Good Day to Die Hard was also passed uncut with a 15 rating on April the 26th, 2013, although this contained no contentious material that was eliminated from the theatrical version for censorship reasons. A cut version of A Good Day to Die Hard was also released in some Asian countries. For example, the film was cut for a 15+ rating in South Korea after the uncut version received an 18+ rating. In Singapore, the film was cut for a PG-13 rating after the uncut version received an NC-16 rating. In a similar case to the UK 12A version, strong language and violence were both removed. For McClane's Yippee-ki-yay line, some dialogue substitution was undertaken. Earlier in the film, during a conversation with Jack, McClane humorously refers to Chernobyl as Cheer Pep.
That's what we do. We go out to cheer pep and do our thing.
This word was reused for the line around 84 minutes into the film in Asian countries, with McClane now heard to proclaim, "Yippee-ki-yay, cheer pep."
The shit we do for our kids. Yippee-ki-yay, cheer pep.
In Singapore, fans reacted badly to the cut version, resulting in Shaw Theatres adding a disclaimer for the film which read, "Please note the audio inconsistencies within the original movie presentation are intentional. 20th Century Fox Singapore has chosen to mute out the vulgar language as to observe the PG-13 rating requirements, instead of editing them to keep the flow of action sequences intact. Please be informed that no refunds will be entertained. To date, all 5 Die Hard films are available without BBFC cuts in the UK, and match the versions of the films released in the United States. Only the original uncut version of Die Hard 2 remains unreleased, and it is likely to stay that way.